All right, let's dive right into it, gang. Thanks everyone for joining. It's great to be with you here today. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I am Jason there on the left, and we're lucky to be joined by David Rockland, the digital strategist, and so much more here at Brilliant Directories. David, thanks for taking the time to join us today in the webinar.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for Webinar Wednesday 137. We got a great webinar and presentation coming up for you. Lots of cool updates to share and a special guest presenter showing a really cool plugin that should address at least one of the most popular feature requests that we've gotten over here at Brilliant Directories. So really looking forward to today's webinar.
Definitely, I'm excited for that one too. And just a quick note, we are streaming on YouTube live today, super helpful. And you can head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook and click on the blue join button there. All are welcome. It's a great way to keep in touch in between Webinar Wednesdays. Lots of constructive questions and topics are discussed there. I'm in there myself. A lot of how-tos and questions and topics that I think everyone can benefit from. So if you're not already part of the Facebook group, we do invite you to join. You could take a moment right now to do that. And there are some new names and faces joining us today. Welcome. Webinar Wednesday is really a great way for us here at Brilliant Directories to share some of the new features that we build into the platform week after week. A big shout out to the BD community. You guys are the #1 driver for new features or fixes that we put into the platform. So thank you everyone for the suggestions. We like to cover topics such as how to increase your website traffic, converting visitors to members, and one of my favorites is how to improve the website's navigation, which is part of the topic of the tip of the week that we're going to showcase today. So if you have questions on any of these topics or anything else about your membership website, please hang on to those questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can today. And oh boy, do we have some cool updates to share with you today. And most notably, the last one on the new features list, the ability to issue credits when members refer other new members to join. We'll start here at the top though. In the Toolbox section of your admin, you now have the ability to clone widgets. This was actually one of the Toolbox sections where the clone option was not available. I'll quickly show you where that is, and it follows the same format as cloning forms, sidebars, etc. So we can head on over to the admin area, and this will be in the Toolbox section and under the Widget Manager. If you have any customized widgets on your site, this link was not here before, but now it is. You can easily clone a widget. I'll go ahead and clone this one as an example. And what it will do, it will clone the widget. It will just change the name. It will add the word copy of in the widget's name here. Everything else will be the same within that widget. This is great for some of our power users who need to clone or replicate some of their custom widgets, for other instances and purposes. So that is now there for everyone. Also in the Toolbox section under Forms, we've released several new field types over the last few months. New Froella editors, a phone number plus country code field. There is a new one. It is numbers, integers only. So it's a text input field, but you can only allowed to enter numbers. Otherwise, you get an alert. I can quickly show you where that is. This is helpful if you're creating a custom form or something where you need to just have people input a number like their age or how many stories is the house, 1 or 2, things like that. So let me show you where that is and an example of where we used it on our demo, webinar demo site. So this would be in the Form Manager. And I've added it as a sample field to this ebook download custom form that we created a while back. And we can see here on the right-hand side, I did create a field called How Old Are You? And we can search for that here. How old are you? If you're not, this is something new we added. If you want to quickly find a field from one of your forms, you can enter the database variable or the field name. So here we see the type of field is number integer only. It's under the fancy fields. Let me go back here. Number integer only. And that's where it is. So if you need to add a new field, you can do that and look for the type of field number integer only. So let's see what this looks like on the front end of the website. And in this case, let's actually make it a required field as well. You can save the changes. Okay, great. So this is the front end of the website where we're rendering this sample form. So we see we have enter name, and then we see how old are you. So I'll go ahead and put some letters in here like Jason, and it says, please enter a valid number. So in this case, I will go ahead and put 39, and that is a valid field input now. And because it is integers, it does have an up and down option here on the right. So if people need to increase by one, by an increment of one, they could use this little, these action items here, or they can just enter the value as well. Pretty self-explanatory, but now you can add number fields to your forms. Also a little cool one, a few webinars back, we did cover how to only show profiles that have all the required fields filled out for their profile in your search results. So if a member has not completed one of the required fields for their profiles, then their profile would not show in the search results. We've recently added a new item that you could set as a required field, which is the profile cover photo. This itself is an add-on. However, now you can also set it as a required field when people are filling out their profile in order for them to show up in the search results. Let me show you where that is and where you can set the required fields for your website for members to fill out. In this case, let's go to settings and toggle over to general settings. Under search settings, the tab over here, there is a setting called require complete profiles. And by default, this is set to no. So members can add as little or as much information to their profiles as they want, and their profile or listing will show up in the search results. However, if you set this to yes, then the members need to fill out the criteria that you define for them to fill out in order for them to show up on the site. And a quick link here is called View Settings. And here it does take you to the advanced settings, and it's pre-filtered for the fields that are required. And these are the same fields as when you're importing members using an CSV file into the site. So here now, if you wanted to make the profile cover photo required, just add it to the comma separated list. You want to add cover underscore photo, and this will now be required in order for their profiles to show up in the search results. I think we did a webinar, we covered this in a previous tip of the week. I'll look for that or let it come to me as I'm talking here. I'd like to share it with everyone. It was a pretty good topic that we covered there. All right, webhooks. We're always working on new and subtle nuances and updates to the webhooks. Webhooks, of course, is the ability for your website to send data out to third-party platforms such as Zapier, MailChimp, Pabbly, and other tools like that. You can now identify failed payments. So if you have a webhook set up for your paid payment plans, when people are signing up to paid plans, you can also get notified. There is a status that will indicate whether the payment was successful or if it was failed. And for those of you who are using the webhooks for paid signups, being able to identify the failed payments, you can create any type of follow-up or workflows that you seem or deem necessary for those types of transactions. Also cool is if you're not using the webhooks, just as a side note here, the admin of the website does get an email notification anytime there's a failed paid sign-up attempt to a website. So if someone's trying to check out for 20 bucks on a paid plan and the credit card doesn't process, the admin of the website is notified with the information that was inputted on the sign-up form. The main reason for that is so you can be proactive. Maybe you want to email them back. Maybe they need assistance and things like that. But it does give you an idea of these failed sign-up attempts for paid membership plans on your site. All right, and the last one here, I think this has been, there's been a lot of excitement for this one to come up. It is connected to the member credits add-on. Now you can issue credits when existing members refer new members. Let me step back a bit because this is a really cool feature, quasi on the line of an affiliate program, not necessarily exactly, but it does allow you to give your members monetary credits when they refer new signups to your site. So in that sense, it is. So let's take a quick look at the add-on first. This is the member credit system. So we've basically added additional functionality to this system. So Initially, when we released this, we tried to get it out as quickly as possible. You can issue member credits. So when a member signs up, and then those credits will be used for other transactions they may have in the future on your website. So if you want to incentivize people to sign up for a free or paid plan on your site, maybe you want to give them $10 of website credit, you can set that up using this credit system. Now there is a cool new setting, and we could take a look at it, and allows you to reward your existing members whose member ID is inputted during the sign-up process of another new member. So let's take a quick look at where that is and how this will work. Let's take a look at the front end first. And I did add this to the general sign-up form. Let me just go there. The general user membership plan. So general user account, let's look at the sign-up page. And this is a free sign-up. Most people probably won't want to give referral credits to members for free sign-ups, maybe a smaller amount than for paid sign-ups that they refer. But when you enable this for each membership plan, the field will exist here now. Did someone refer you? Enter referral ID before, and this will be the referral ID of an existing member on your site. So your members will be encouraged to share their sign-up referral ID with other people. And if a valid number is entered here, it will add that credit to the existing member's member ID. So let's take a look at the settings, and then let's run through a quick example of how this would work. So we'll stick with the general user account as an example. Let's edit this. And when you have the add-on enabled, if you scroll down to sign-up settings, the member credits add-on, there are a small handful of options here. The first set up here was to reward new signups, the people who are signing up, and give them some incentive to reward credits after they sign up. So this had always existed. Here are the new settings. Assign referral credits to members who refer new signups. If this is set to no, you're not going to see enter the referral ID field on the sign up page. So let's actually save the changes real quick here. And let's see this field disappear from the form. So we are not giving sign up referral credits on the general user account. So let's go back and re-enable it and set it to yes. And in this case, on the next field, credits assigned to referring members. So how much credit do you want to give to the members whose ID are entered on the sign up page? Let's go crazy. Let's give them 100 credits. And of course, these credits, again, can then be used for the members' future payments and transactions on your site. Great, let's get a sample member's ID number to input on the sign up page. All right, so we have an existing member here. Their ID is 102. Let's enter their ID number during a sample sign up here. Oh, let me refresh the page because we need to enable it. There we go, did someone refer you? Great. All right, let's put the second password here, and we'll put the ID number here, 102, and I am not a robot, and we'll create the profile. Remember, we set this to $100 for members who are referring new members. So this account has been created. This is a free sign up for the general user, so they're encouraged to verify their email address. But if we go back to the search members page here, this is the guy, 102. I'll just refresh this page. And what we're going to see here is a tally. Here's the new member who signed up, member 103. Here's the member who referred 103. Member 102, and we can see now they have $100 of credits. And what's really cool, as the admin of the site, you might want a little context or reference as to how these credits were added to the member, but whether it's manually or through some action. If you click on that number, there will be like a general ledger of credits added or debited from the member's account. So we can see here, added $100 in credits to member 102 for referring member 103. So it's very clear why this credit was added and for signing up to the general user account. And also, we might have missed this here, but in this little box here, we also see a new piece of metadata referred by member 102. So we can actually see who was referred by who. Really cool here, and pro tip, you don't necessarily need to give monetary credits. You could set the value to 0, but enable them to input the ID number of a member, and it would still show you who it was referred by, and you don't necessarily need to give any credits. You can have 0 credits. Let's also click on this member's detail page in the admin. And we can see here referral signups, and we can see here on June 15th, member 103 was a referral signup, and this member 102 was granted $100 of credits. So there's a little bit of tracking here, and later as we progress, you'll be able to kind of see who your top affiliates or members who are referring new members are. Another pro tip here, let me refresh this sign up page. You can create quick links for your members in their dashboard, create a little refer a friend banner. We'll probably cover that in another webinar since this is just freshly released. But we did build in the logic, so if in the URL it has referral ID and then the ID of a member, 102 as an example, it will pre-fill the member's ID here. So you can give your members their own links to sign up pages, and all the person has to do is go to this link and they can skip entering the ID number here. It would just be pulled from the ID from the URL. So that works right now, but we're gonna find ways to make it easier for you to share the referral link with your members. So we might do a tip of the week webinar on that later. I can get a little bit deeper into this, but we'll leave it there for now. Last thing to note, those of you who have customized your free sign up or your paid sign up forms, this is a field that's part of the default forms. So if you, prior to this date, June 15th, 2022, had the free or paid sign up forms customized on your site, and you're enabling the setting, but it's not showing up on the sign up page very easily and very quickly, just make sure you come to your main dashboard area and check for updates. It will check if your customized forms have that field that will hide or show the referral ID input field on your sign up pages. So if you're enabling it and not seeing it on your sign up pages, first thing to check are the install new updates module here on your dashboard. We got a lot more to share with you in the lab updates. I'll go through these next ones a bit quicker. We are working on a new domain manager page. I'm sure many of you have connected your domain name. You went to the domain manager, you inputted the new URL of your live website domain. We are adding a bit more information there, and to help with email deliverability, I have a sample of what this is going to look like. We're looking for a release in the next few weeks or so. So this will be the new domain manager. It's not released yet, domain manager page. And this is really helpful because it's going to provide a lot more information about your domain, its status, its health, and a lot of other things. So in this case, if you connected a domain name, it's going to find out who it's registered with. If there's an expiration date associated with it, most domains do. If the system notices the expiration date is coming close, you'll see a warning here to make sure that you have auto renew set up with your GoDaddy or network solutions. We've seen some users let their domains lapse because they didn't have auto renew set up and things like that. And then also the connection method, whether it's name server, CNAME, or a record, and more. So in this case, this example website doesn't have a proper connection method set up here. And below are the ways to connect your domain name here. So if you ever wanted to check, you could hit the refresh button and it would update the statuses. The next tab is the SSL security tab. Some people connect their own SSL, some people use BD's SSL. This is going to let you know that all the triggers and settings for your SSL are working properly with your BD website. So we see sometimes people can't access the front end of their site. There's some kind of conflict. This will not only help our support team troubleshoot any issues related to SSL quicker, but you as well can diagnose and potentially fix any issues related to SSL, whether you've installed your own or using BDs. And same with this, you can click the refresh button and it will check the statuses and provide you with warnings or all good alerts. The last one is the most important one here, I think, which are email deliverability settings. So we're working to improve authentication with your domain and the email sending platforms such as SendGrid. It seems very technical, but in a nutshell, seeing all greens here, which most sites will see automatically in the BD system, will ensure that your email deliverability is as close to 100% as possible and landing in your members' inboxes. Seeing any warning signs here, again, will alert our support team and you as well on what needs to be troubleshooted and fixed, which can diagnose any issues a lot quicker. and help expedite a resolution to make sure your emails are being delivered from the system. This is probably the most complicated tab, but probably and the one you'll least need to use. But for those of you, again, who are power users or having issues with some of your email deliverability, this will provide very easily information on what to do. In addition to that, there are some SPF and DKIM credentials. Don't ask me what those mean. That is for our developers and people doing things with their email setups. But when you're asked from third parties to include this information, it'll be nicely laid out here for you, and you can even click the refresh button. Well, it didn't work in this page. It's still a demo here, but it will tell you if the connections and credentials are set up correctly. So very excited about this, and this is probably will be released mid-July or potentially sooner. All right, newsletters. I have to admit, sending newsletters is part of the admin area that we really haven't updated in quite some time, but we are ready for an overhaul. And we do have a new design and workflow coming very soon for sending bulk emails and newsletters to your members. The good news is we have the design part semi-nailed down, and I can show you an example of the direction this is headed in. And what we're going to do is pass it on to the dev team to put in the magic that actually turns it on. And we'll probably have a release on this at the end of July, hopefully at the beginning of August. So it seems like worlds away, but it'll probably come up quicker than we think. So currently to send a newsletter, let's take a look at that. You would go to emails, send newsletter, and you'd click on the new email newsletter button. And this is currently what we use. And honestly, as far as functionality or working, it does the job. You can schedule a newsletter and it'll go to the smart lists and contacts that you select. And in that sense, it works fine. However, it can be improved. So the direction we're going with email newsletters, let me go back one sec. Also, the table that lets you look at your email newsletters, these are all the history of the email newsletters sent. It provides some information, but we want to do better for you guys. This is just the design right now. It's a concept, but this is the direction we're headed in. This will be the layout to look at your pending or sent newsletters or newsletters that are currently processing. When you have larger lists, it can take some minutes to process the sending of an email newsletter. So here we have some cool things. You can see the statuses of your newsletters, sent, draft, or sending. You can see the total size of the recipients that were included, and you'll be able to see all the statuses of the emails that were sent out. How many of them failed, delivered, delivered and opened, delivered, opened, and clicked on. Now, all this information is really helpful, but what's even better is if you wanted to send an email to people who opened but didn't click, you can click on any one of these numbers and it'll show you who the recipients are that fell into that category for this newsletter, and the names and lists will be here. And what's even cooler is you'll be able to either export this list or create a segmented smart list of people's actions they took on a specific newsletter send. So if you wanted to re-email people who opened or didn't open or clicked or didn't click on a certain newsletter, and honestly, that's what we do with our marketing, and it's really effective, so you don't have to bother people who don't fit into a certain segment based on a newsletter send. This will provide you with that functionality. And in addition to that, you'll have some other options here. You can clone the newsletter if you wanted to do a repeat and run it back, just at a different time in the future. And you can also see the details of the newsletter that was sent, the ID, who it was created by, the subject, the template that it was associated with, the send date and the completion date to process, as well as the smart lists that were included. And this is new functionality that's going to be coming with this release, smart lists that were excluded. And you can see your total eligible recipients that were part of this newsletter campaign. Now, to schedule a newsletter, we saw on the other site, it's just a form. It's this form here. You click new newsletter and you have your settings and everything's here on the same page, which is nice. It does the job. This will be the new layout when you're scheduling and setting up a newsletter. You'll have a tab with the email preview. You'll be able to toggle different templates if you like, so you can make sure you're sending the correct template. In a further phase, even after this is released, we're going to allow the ability to edit the template right here rather than going to the email templates page and editing the template. So it'll make this page a lot more dynamic. And if you clone a newsletter, you can then make your subtle changes right here without having to go to the email templates page. Under settings, right now it's pretty simple, just the from name associated with this newsletter that you're sending and the from address. So you can edit these here. And I think this is the most powerful part of this update that will be coming down the line, the Select Recipients tab. So what you would have on your left is a list of all your smart lists. So if you have 10 smart lists, 5 smart lists, 100 smart lists, all those different smart lists with different criteria, different types of members or users who have interacted with your site will be on the left-hand side. And when you hover over one of these smart lists, you can then include or exclude it from being a recipient in this newsletter. So if you want to send it to all your members, you would click include. And if you had a smart list of, let's say, just canceled members that you created, you can make sure to exclude that. So it will send it to all your members, as an example, minus the other smart list that you've selected. And with the example I just said, canceled members. And when it does a subtraction, it'll show you how many eligible recipients there are for your newsletter. So we're very excited for this when it will be released. It'll allow you to really send laser-focused newsletter to your contacts. Sending and scheduling. Right now, there's only an option to send the newsletter when you click the button, and then it'll send the newsletter, which is fine. There will be a send now option, but what we're going to include in this future release is the ability to schedule emails for the future. So you can set a date and a specific time, and the newsletter will go out. It'll be connected to the website's time. So whatever you've set in your general settings is the time zone for the website. That is when the future send date will be scheduled for. And again, we see here the total recipients and the schedule newsletter now button. So really excited about this update. I'm happy that I was able to show this kind of workflow it's coming down the line. I'm personally excited about this one because I know how much value it's going to add to the BD platform and the users as a whole. In addition to that, coming soon, we've mentioned this a few times, new API and the ability to import and port into your site data via third-party feeds such as Zapier, Pabbly, and more. So I chatted with the dev team today. We're looking for a July, August release for that, and tons more updates, speed, security, quality of life features. Very exciting new things on the way. And thank you guys for all of the suggestions that you have. Before we go to our special guest today, if you guys have any comments or questions about these specific features that are live or coming soon, please feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you and take a question or comment or two. All right, Colette here. How you doing, Colette?
Hi, Jason. I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for joining the webinar.
Good, good. Very excited about the new features in the coming soon. It all looks amazing. Thanks for that.
Likewise.
One thing I wanted to mention possibly as another new feature to work on, for the newsletters, what I like to do to send out to the community is links to the latest events, specials, etc., with the picture that's associated with it. So I sort of almost copy and paste that, how it looks on my website into the newsletters. So to have an easy way of doing that, to put the picture in and the little write-up and a link would be awesome.
Gotcha. I think more block options, the content blocks for newsletter can help achieve that. And actually, I didn't mention it here. We only have 4 pre-made blocks that you can drag and drop into a newsletter, but potentially we're looking to add more to make it easier to kind of structure your newsletters in such a fashion that you're mentioning.
That would be great. Perfect.
All right. Appreciate the feedback. Thank you, Colette.
Thanks.
All right. Always good suggestions. And Stephen, got to see a hand up here from Stephen.
Yeah, thanks. All of this is great, so really appreciate it. And even the cloning the widgets, I had mentioned that like about 3 weeks ago or so, or maybe a month ago.
You're the person who
Yeah,
put it
so
on our
really,
list. So thank you
really
for that
appreciate it.
suggestion.
No, it's all good as is. I only have a couple of things to throw out just to see. I don't know how easy it is or difficult it is for a developer to do this, but with the issue in the credits, what came to mind was I don't know if this happens a lot or would happen a lot, but the member who wants to sign up as if they're new so they can give themselves credits. Does that make sense? So is there a way, is it easy for developers to see if the same IP address is doing that so it can send us an alert as an admin? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I am thinking.
So if someone wants to game the system, I'm already a member and I want to give myself some credit, so I pretend to be a new member signing up and I refer I put my name as the person who made the referral, so now I get the credits.
Sure. Right.
I don't know if people do that or not, but I just wonder.
Well, I always say this: if people are trying to game your site, it means they see value in it. So
that's true. Good way to look at it.
Let me show you something that you can do. I don't know exactly how you would execute it, but what comes to mind is this. Under your search members page, you do have the IP joined, right? Or also the last IP login as well when there's a login IP. So you have 2 IPs per member. I don't know exactly how you would achieve this, but what I think you can do is you can add a field to your sign up forms. You're asking if a developer would do this. So just quickly thinking with kind of a developer hat on here, what I would do is add a hidden field here. And the hidden field, you can call it something like IP check. Okay, let me just save the changes real quick. And what you can do in the IP check is you can do it with email addresses. It checks if an email address has already joined the website. So probably it would be the same field name as this IP is stored in the database. So whatever field name that is in the database, you wouldn't do IP check, you would do that. What you can then do is under actions, validation options, is this. What you can check database if unique, and you can set that to on. And there's a format here for which field to check in the database. So that's how it knows to allow or not allow the same email address for joining. So you could probably create 2 hidden fields associated that it checks that the IP is not the same. I don't know if it's going to get the IP in real time, so that would be up to the developer, but this is kind of how I would do it. Is I would check the database if the value is unique, and you would do it for the IP address field in the database and the last login IP address in the database, and I would play around with that. But that's kind of the direction I can hint you in to go to.
Got it. That makes sense. That's helpful. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. All right, we're reaching up to higher powers here in the software. All right, we got a couple more hands up with these questions here. We'll go to our friend from Podcaster Directory, Rich. How you doing, Rich?
Hey, Jason, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, great. Yeah, a couple of questions on the sign up the credits, which is phenomenal. I'm super excited, over the moon about this option. I've been having fun with it so far. So my question on the credits is, I don't know if it'll be helpful to go back to the screen, but I did that in the Facebook chat as well, or the Facebook group. But I love the idea of like the referrals, but in the example you did, the 102 and the 103, so the member, if I referred you, in other words, I'm getting member credits, but you, how would we issue credits to you?
Right. So this is so they're independent. So in this case, and it's a great example that you're bringing up. So this is the reward credits to assign after, we should put the word new here, after new user signs up to the new user who signs up. So that could be like $50, but the credits assigned to the referring member can be another amount, like $10. So the amounts given to the person who's actually signing up versus the person who gets the referral credit can be independent and separate amounts.
Okay, but could they be connected? In other words, like right now, everybody that, like the reward credits, everybody that signs up would get the $50, as you illustrated here, whether they put in a referral code or not, right? So the idea is the incentive for the person to put in the referral code, because if they put that in, not only are they giving money to their friend or whatever the referral, but they're getting their credit as well.
Oh, gotcha. Giving them like a bonus credit for using the referral for entering
it's
the
just
referral. By default, there isn't like a seamless setting for that, but I got you. So what you could do is something like this. It might become a little cumbersome depending on how many membership plans you have, but you could potentially clone a plan and call it general user referral, right? And that one can have the bonus credits for the person who's, and that this one can have it enabled. The regular general user account doesn't have it enabled.
Okay,
so you could create a sidebar that says like, and a banner in the sidebar that says like, did somebody refer you? Click here to sign up with their referral credit, and then it links them to this one, which will give them the credit for entering a referral and the person who's referring as well. So not a perfect solution, but again, that's something you can do, is have an alternate for each one if you needed to go that route.
That would work, because I mean that's kind of standard marketing, is like that gives both parties an incentive to put in the referral code, because we're going to help out each other at the same time.
Exactly, and it incentivizes people to refer each other and sign up using a referral link rather than just a standard sign up. So it kind of gamifies the sign up process a bit.
I love the idea of the member credits of only issuing when they use the paid or the upgrade as opposed to the free. I mean, it just gives a lot of really cool options. But love it. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, good stuff. Always thankful for your feedback. Thank you. All right, guys, great questions there. We can keep things moving along. We do have a special guest with us today, one of our marketplace partners and one of the developers, Gabriel Solis from TreeHouse Marketing. His company is actually doing really awesome things. BD, we try to pump out as many features as we can, and actually Gabe's company has done a great job filling in the gaps for some of the popular requests that we literally just haven't gotten around to yet. Gabe, I'll go ahead and unmute your microphone, and I do want to welcome you to the webinar here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jay, for that introduction, and thanks, David, also. I always love joining these webinars and sharing as much as I can.
Awesome. And I did drag out the lab updates a bit much, but I don't want to take away from your time here, Gabe, because I'm blown away by this update. It's definitely something a lot of BD sites, not everyone, but a lot of BD sites could benefit from, the post filter builder plugin that you've created. And I just want to mention, as I mentioned, Gabe is a marketplace partner. This is kind of where you can go if you're desperately in the need of features that aren't yet built into the BD platform. I'll go ahead and share Gabe's profile here from the marketplace if you guys want to check out some of the partner plugins they've created. These are paid plugins for the most part. Sometimes they're free, but definitely worth it if it's critical to your business and to keep things running on your website. So Gabe, I'll let you take the lead here, and you could tell us a little bit about post filters and the post filter builder plugin that you've created.
Well, thank you so much. So yes, hey everyone, today I will be sharing a little bit about what post filters are, when to use post filters, how they work on the Brilliant Directories platform, and how you can create your own custom filters with our plugin. So first of all, what are post filters? Well, essentially, post filters are search criteria used to narrow down your search results. So the default BD search criteria that you most all know are keywords, categories, location, date range, and price range. And there's a little example of what a usual search filter looks like with all the different search criteria that you have available. The next thing that we should talk about is when to use post filters, right? So post filters are really useful when you want to empower the people visiting your website to narrow down the results of different types of content on your site with specific search criteria that are very personal to them, things that they're looking for. And search criteria can be used on all sorts and types of directories, like property directories, event directories, job directories, coupon directories, classifieds, and blog directories as well. So let's talk a little bit about how these work on Brilliant Directories. Well, Brilliant Directories has very kindly provided all of us with some very amazing types of posts like the ones I mentioned earlier, and they all come with different search criteria options like, again, keywords, date range, location, category, and additional search filters. But keyword filters, they require no setup at all, so you're good to go on that front. Date range filters require no setup at all. You're good to go. Location filters only require that you set up your Google Maps API, and there's some really cool documentation and videos on how you can get that going in your Brilliant Directories dashboard. Your category filters just need a little bit of updating in the BD post settings for every different type of post that you want. And additional search filters, well, they require a little bit more customization into your different search modules for, let's say, properties or events or whatever other post type you want to create on Brilliant Directories.
And there comes the hurdle. We've created these. We can go to the demo site real quick, Gabe, together. If we go to Demo Bootstrap, and we can look at some of the searches for the post types, jobs. I'll go to classifieds and even properties. These search modules by default, we try to include what the most common things are people search for these post types. So jobs, include type of employment, categories, and salary range. Classifieds, pretty straightforward, keyword, category, and price range. It's limited, but it actually does the job for about 90% of projects. And property search has a bit more: beds, baths, property type, status, for sale, for rent. This is pretty comprehensive, but if you want to add more, and again, we just haven't gotten around to it, it does require you to customize the code in these modules and know how to connect it to the criteria of the posts, like the property listings and the jobs. So I'll just continue passing it over to you, Gabe, but that's the current hurdle and roadblock right now.
Yeah, and now let's talk a little bit about how we create custom post filters to overcome this hurdle. Us, at TreeHouse Marketing, we created this really cool plugin. It's called the Post Filter Builder, and this plugin will allow you to add as many custom search criteria as you want to any default post search module on Brilliant Directories. And for today, we created an example car directory for you guys, and adding different search criteria, usual search criteria that a car directory would have, to showcase how this plugin actually works. So, guys, as you can see here, we have the car directory search results page. And what is really neat is that we have quite a few additional filters here on the side, additional search criteria. We have make and model, we have how many doors are on this particular car search, we have the car type, and if we keep scrolling down there, we have a few other options like the condition of the car and what color the car is. So if you're looking to add custom search filters to your directory here, this plugin can allow you to really actually define any additional search criteria that you want to add via this custom search bar on the left-hand side. We can do a quick example here. Jay, if you want to just search for Toyota Hilux, for example, and then 3 to 5 doors. And then, 4x4 truck. And then let's not click use because I can't remember what I checked there. And let's just hit search. So we're doing a custom search now for only cars that fit this criteria now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you can create any, doesn't have to be for cars. It could be it doesn't even have to just be for classifieds. It could be for anything, right?
Yeah, it could be for any type of post. It could be for cars. It could be for events. It could be for services. If you want to add different types of services, it's pretty robust. All of these search criteria, make and model, doors, car type, all of these were essentially added by someone that knows absolutely no code in our plugin, and they were able to create all of these for the search experience on their website. So, Jay, if you don't mind, maybe we log into that website and we showcase the plugin a little bit.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll take us there.
Yeah, and as you're doing that, Jason, I'll just chime in here and give you guys some more examples of this. As we mentioned before, this is one of the most popular additional features that have kind of been requested that we just haven't gotten to yet, like Jason mentioned. But you see these types of search filters and criteria often on some of the most popular websites like Auto Trader, Yelp, Kayak, just to really narrow down your search. So there's a lot of different possibilities for this. One of the most common requests that I've heard from our users who want to deploy something like this is for real estate websites. So you can really add a lot more criteria that your users and website visitors can check off so that they can really narrow down their search and get exactly what it is they're looking for. So this is a really robust plugin, and excited to see how this works.
Yeah, so guys, as you can see here, Jason just logged into the plugin, and it really lets you add in as many different search criteria as you want to any of the post types that exist on your Brilliant Directories website. So as you can see, the first thing that you got to do when you land on the plugin is select the post type that you want to add search criteria to. So right now we're clicking the cars post type, and we can add top search criteria, sub search criteria, and sub search criteria. So as you can see, back on this landing page that Jay just showcased, we saw that we had the top label there as the top category or top search criteria that people could actually search by. And if we go to the sub tab, Jay, you'll see that we now have, for example, Toyota as a sub search criteria under make and model, right? And that's why it's showing up on the search results page underneath that drop down for make and model. And we can go even lower if we go to the sub tab, and we can add the type of Toyota. So right now we're adding as a sub category Hilux, Corolla, and Prius as Toyota sub search criteria, and that allows us to then display that sub search criteria on the search results page. So I want to actually showcase how this works a little bit. So Jay, if you don't mind going back to the search results page just one quick second, and just at the bottom of the search module, just click clear filters. So we have the first car there, Suzuki Jimny. It's a 4x4 car, right? So let's go ahead and let's actually try to add the model Suzuki and the type of model Jimny underneath the plugin. So let's actually head on over to the plugin here, and under make and model, let's just add a subcategory, and we'll call that Suzuki. And then we'll select make and model as the associated search criteria there. And let's go ahead and add it into sub. Go ahead. And let's add Jimny, and let's look for Suzuki make and model as the search criteria. Save category. There we go. So now let's go back to the search results page. And what you'll see is that we now have the Suzuki search criteria and Jimny as a sub search criteria for Suzuki. And if we were to assign that category to this post, we can go into that post and assign that category.
Right. So as you add like categories or criteria in the plugin area, when you create a new car post in this example, those options will become available, right? So Gabe, another thing to point out here is there is a setting with his plugin that he showed before where you can click multiple things, and there is a setting to have an exact or broad match, meaning you as the admin can choose the results will filter that for all the criteria needs to be met by the selected options, or if any search result item matches any of the criteria that's been selected. So if you want to show your visitors more matches as they continue to click, you would select the broad match filter, or if you want them to narrow down and get more granular, you would choose the specific or strict match option with this tool, and it'll start to narrow down options, which I think would be the more preferred method for a filter like this, but it just again depends on your website and the purpose here. We know that this is hot off the press, but I've seen this in action on some of the sample sites that we can't show publicly, but that you were able to show me, and it was really solid and really awesome. I'll share a link again to Gabe's marketplace profile here, or actually we'll just send a link to TreeHouse Marketing, the development company for this plugin, and tons more. And let's see, we had another scope here. Why add custom filters? I think it's clear. If you just have additional criteria beyond the default search filters that come with BD, and you want to create a more enhanced search experience for your visitors, being able to add custom filters without any coding, really, as we saw how to add the top and sub level categories for the search criteria is really simple. Yeah, Gabe is discounting this for the webinar here, but before you purchase, maybe you want to inquire and see if it's right for your site. You can email support@treehousemarketing.org. And what we could do now is we can kind of switch gears and we can go to the Q&A. We'll take some questions if we can help you with your BD website, or if you had any general questions about some things we covered here today. I see Dan's got his hand back up here. Let me unmute you there. How you doing, Dan?
Good, good. Okay, so I had two things. First one's really quick. It's a feature request. We pay the $100 sum for the SendGrid, and integrate that in, so we have our own dedicated IP. But they have a feature in there, like a different API key that does real-time email address validations. And so I thought it'd be nice to have the ability to put that into BD, so that way people can't sign up with fake email accounts and so forth, because when they do that and it sends out the email, it hurts your reputation. There's that, because I don't think that's anywhere, right?
No, but let me ask, no, that's really cool. Let me ask you a question about that tool. It checks that it's a valid email address, that it's able to receive emails, as opposed to just sending like gibberish, putting gibberish emails in.
Yeah, exactly. It somehow determines if it's a legit email or not.
I love that, because it's just another tool to potentially minimize spammy signups or unwanted signups, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very cool. Email address validation API. Since the backbone of our email system is with SendGrid, I'll recommend this to our team to take a look at it and see if it's something we can integrate onto sign-up pages and things like that. So there is a cost associated to it, it seems, but I'll definitely share it with the team and see where we can take it from there.
Nope, I'd pay it. Already paying, actually. So
right.
And then so the question that I was referencing earlier about the billing settings, if you could click back to the one screen. So pretty much we have customers on monthly recurring billing, and then when their credit card expires or whatever, it'll try and it'll fail, they'll get the email. I was going to say it would be nice to have an option when the second and third email notification goes out that it actually tries to bill the credit card, because I was actually confused, because the way I understand it is does not try to bill the credit card the second and third time. So it would be nice if you could toggle that on to try. I emailed support. They said they don't try to do it automatically, because if it's invalid, and Stripe, if they see that you try to charge it several times, it could cause problems with your account. So that's kind of like part A of the question. But the BD system will then attempt to bill that same credit card a month later. So like we went back in, we found somebody, so it failed billing, on that first attempt, and obviously it didn't do it on the second and third, but then for March, April, and May, it did try to bill their credit card again on that first attempt. So it never actually stops trying to bill. At least I'm pretty sure that's the way it's designed. Does that sound right?
What you explained is correct. You can manually go in there and attempt to capture the past due payments, but again, that requires extra work on your end. I do think, I'll be honest with you, I think we have the functionality for it. We just never released it, because it was just going through some testing, and to make sure that, when you're billing people, you want to make sure it's for the right reasons and not a mistake in the system. I'll ask the team to revisit this, because if it can attempt to auto bill past due invoices, let's say every day when it's running the recurring payments as part of that, that's super high value. It'll help the website capture more of the funds that are due to them in real time, rather than waiting for you to push that button to collect the past due payments. So
and then also, I was going to say that the part B, I think, is kind of like a negative experience too, because I mean, is this thing going to keep trying to bill them for like the next 12 months, every time? That's just not a good experience for anybody.
Got you. So what you're saying is being able to set auto bill attempts, right? So let's say you set it to 5. It'll try for 5 days or whatever number you set there. If you put 10,000, then it'll just try every day for 10,000 days to bill that credit card for that invoice. Definitely good suggestions here. I think we already had a setting that was halfway there. So we can, this is fantastic. We'll re-explore it and see what we can come up with to give more granular control over past due payment handling to be more automated.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Good stuff there. All right. If you guys have more questions, please feel free to ask us in the Facebook group. Gabe, I definitely want to thank you for joining us on this webinar. We look forward to having you in future webinars as well. Your company is really creating some cool plugins. We'd love to see some more examples of them in the Facebook group as well. If we didn't get to your question today, again, please join us in the Facebook group. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook, click on that blue join button, and we will post the replay, the YouTube live replay in the Facebook group shortly as well. So on behalf of myself, David, the entire Brilliant Directories family, and Gabe as well from TreeHouse Marketing, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Next webinar will be in 2 weeks, and I'll catch you there, or I'll catch you in the Facebook group. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.